This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
Good evening. Day 13 of Egypt in crisis has proven to be historic, and tonight across the country there are signs of everyday life returning amid the chaos. Here's the latest. Egypt's new vice president met with opposition groups today, a first. The government is making a new offer of sweeping concessions, and some banks and schools have reopened. CBS News has a team of correspondents on this ever-changing story, and we begin tonight with Elizabeth Palmer in Cairo.
As you may be able to hear behind me, the demonstrators are still in Tahrir Square. It's a rather blustery, rainy evening, but they've put up shelters and tents, and they are going to spend the night there. For thousands of Egyptians, coming down to the square really means having a share in national history. 50 years from now, thousands will be able to say proudly, "I was there." But only a few, that's where we tied the knot.
This is more than I can imagine, and it's more than a wedding, than a dream wedding or anything.
Tahrir Square, the epicenter of the protests, is also Cairo's new wedding venue. While across town, Egypt's vice president opened negotiations with a broad range of opposition groups. Even a week ago, their demands would have been unthinkable. They want, among other things, freedom of the press, term limits on the presidency, and the release of those arrested since the crisis began. Today, banks reopened, and so did some businesses and schools, not only in Cairo, but in Alexandria too, setting the scene for normal life. But the fact is, the new normal includes a stubborn crowd of demonstrators in Tahrir Square insisting that the bottom line remains: President Hosni Mubarak has to go.
I went to work this morning and I came here after work.
Once offices closed, thousands headed back downtown to continue the protest. Just look at this line of people waiting patiently and peacefully to get into Tahrir Square. They are as committed to getting rid of Hosni Mubarak today as they were when this whole thing began. State television had tried to blame foreign media for plotting with the protesters to overthrow Egypt's government.
Because I've been here for 13 days now.
Ziad Ali, in the line today, got out his own camera to mock that idea.
Everybody's telling us on TV that there are foreign agendas and that you guys are here to pay us some money.
But seriously, he added, no one here is going to give up.
I think these guys are determined. They're serious about what they want. They're young, they're passionate, and they'll keep going.
A steady stream of government concessions this week has shown these people tenacity pays off. There was one really breathtaking event today. The Muslim Brotherhood, the Islamist organization that's been banned as a political party in Egypt since 1954, was at the table negotiating with the government, something most Egyptians never thought they'd witness. Russ?
Certainly a day of fast-moving events. Elizabeth, as far as the protesters are concerned, what's next?
They're going to continue to occupy the square and hope that the opposition, their leaders, can maintain solidarity in these talks as the negotiations pick up steam and really maintain the bottom line. Say, look, it's all very well that you're giving these concessions, but we're not going to sign any deal until Mubarak goes.
Elizabeth Palmer in Cairo. Thank you. As Elizabeth just told us, perhaps the loudest call for change in Egypt is coming from the young. And among that group, there appears to be no compromise. Mubarak must go. Terry McCarthy now. He has more on the young and the angry.
Voices of protest from a generation that's grown up knowing only one ruler.
The youth, they're the ones who are frustrated. They're the ones who are angry.
Egypt has a huge youth population. The median age here is just 24 compared to 36 in the US. And young people between the ages of 15 and 29 make up 90% of the unemployed. They call them Shabab Atilin, the unemployed youth.
The way we're living right now isn't the way we should be living.
Dalia and Aya Abbas are both university students in Cairo, and they too will soon be looking for jobs.
Most of the people actually have really good degrees, but they can't find anything to go into.
Our government doesn't take care of us. Our government doesn't give us the opportunities that they should be giving us.
They, like many of the young demonstrators, are highly educated.
People who got a degree in accounting go into a job as a secretary. Like, there's really nowhere to go.
With tuition fees as low as $60 a year, Egypt's university system is creating many more graduates than the economy can handle.
This system now graduates in the order of sort of 600 to 700,000 students each year. Each year, probably about half of these students don't find jobs.
The young protesters who were impatient for change are now realizing the process will take longer than they first hoped.
There will be change. All we could do now is pray for change, and hopefully it'll be good change.
After 13 days of demonstrations, Egypt's younger generation have sent a clear message to their rulers that they want change. The question now is how quickly that change will come. Russ?
Terry McCarthy in Cairo. Thank you. On the diplomacy front, this weekend we saw more of the delicate balance the White House is trying to strike in dealing with the crisis. Jan Crawford takes a look at what the stakes are today and down the road.
The protests have sent shockwaves through the Middle East, leaving the White House scrambling to stay ahead of what analysts call a geopolitical earthquake that could forever change the region.
It requires complete rethinking of the American approach to the Middle East.
The White House's initial response to the protests was muted, but in the 13 days since, the Obama administration, while stopping short of calling for President Mubarak's immediate resignation, has pushed for an orderly transition to democracy. Today, in an interview with Fox News' Bill O'Reilly, President Obama had this to say.
Egypt is not going to go back to what it was. The Egyptian people want freedom. They want free and fair elections.
In a potentially explosive and rapidly changing situation, the president is trying to strike a balance. The administration is supporting the protesters demanding reforms while also seeking to protect vital U.S. interests.
He's kind of like a high-wire artist in which he's got to walk a fine line between wanting Mubarak to go, but not go in a way that creates chaos.
Analysts say the stakes could not be higher, not only in Egypt, but throughout the Middle East.
What has happened in Egypt has transformed the Arab world. And the United States is going to have to fundamentally shift its foreign policy in a way that it has resisted for the past 20 years.
Now, analysts say America's challenge going forward is to help foster these democratic institutions that reflect the will of the people, but to also promote stability in the region. Russ?
Jan Crawford at the White House.